Tony Kakko of Sonata Arctica. Welcome to 69 Faces of Rock. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. A lot of interviews. It's not that cold outside anymore. It's only like -15. Yesterday it was -30 Celsius, so it's getting warmer already. Not much, but still.
Still pretty cold in Chicago. Getting tiny bit warmer, but we're under attack.
I heard. Yeah, I heard. I had an interview to Chicago yesterday, actually, and the climate was not far from that. So yeah, funny.
All right, so it seems like you hit the reset button on this new album. Tell me how it came to be.
Well, we have been talking about going back to our roots with many albums for, I don't know, good 10 years, I think. Anyhow, it's just time to actually do what we've been talking about for ages and go there. And there were like multitude of things that actually contributed towards that thing. One of them being the previous album, which turned out much softer than we intended, really, both sound-wise and also I've had a lot of problems with my vocals around that time, since 2017-ish. It started getting worse and worse, and in hindsight, it would have been smart to not record the album around that time, but rather let myself find what's wrong, which was tongue tension for all you singers out there. It was like I managed to get my tongue back in shape, and now I'm back in singing condition. It took me a long time to find out what's wrong. So now I'm able to do that thing. And also one thing that we got out of our way was the acoustic stuff, acoustic albums, which we had been dreaming about for ages. And we got them out and we toured, playing the acoustic shows for 10 weeks around Europe. And after that tour, we were super ready to do something else. You know, as much fun and as easygoing as it is to do acoustic shows, it is also a little bit boring towards the end, fun and all, but still, you know, we are a metal band, heavy band, and that is the core of the thing, and we need to be doing that kind of stuff. And we also had played around the same time a lot of these 25th anniversary tours and shows, like festivals and such, on which we took on a lot of the older Sonata Arctica power metal songs. And it was great seeing the people react to those songs and how much energy it gave to both the audience and ourselves. So all those things put together, we felt that it's about time to actually see if there is something still to be said in the field of power metal for Sonata Arctica. And at least now with this album, it looks really good.
As you mentioned, the last two albums were acoustics. What made you go into that to explore that territory in the first place?
Well, I think the first acoustic thing ever we recorded was already 2000 or 2001. Mary Lou, I think, was the song at the time, and it was a lot of fun to do. And I enjoyed how it allowed the song to breathe in a different way, and then gave it a different kind of life as well. And the version was slightly different from the original, and that was the idea that we kept along the years. We had sometimes these acoustic interludes between the normal Sonata Arctica shows, and even played acoustic festivals in Finland, like normal heavy metal festivals, but we played an acoustic set, which was a lot of fun. And all those piled up and made us feel that would be really great to actually record an album with this style. And in some point, 2016-ish, I think we started talking with our label that we would love to do this, but they were hesitating that whether or not it's a good idea, and it doesn't work. They have a lot of examples that how I could, like, heavy metal band doing acoustic versions of their songs, it doesn't really communicate and doesn't turn out too good. And we took a chance, risk, and went out on tour, playing our versions of our songs acoustically in Europe, and the label guys at the Game and See, and they understood and saw that we are doing things slightly differently. We have totally rearranged the songs and partially even rewritten some bits and pieces for the songs in order for them to work in acoustic environment. And so they gave us a green light to record the albums, and finally 2019 we were ready to go and start recording the albums, and off we went. And then along came Corona, and everything was postponed because we were supposed to go on tour right away. So first we waited a little bit, like half a year, if the whole thing will go by, and eventually we were forced to just push them out so that we can move forward and start working on the next real Sonata Arctica album as well. And finally we were actually able to go on the tour, and all's good now.
When you look back at all of your acoustic stuff, what lessons did you think you learned from operating within that world?
Well, sometimes simple approach is better, but I'm not sure if we actually learned that. But it is something that we could have taken away from that. But I don't know. Maybe how important it is to think the arrangement of the song super carefully, what you want to have in the song, and but at the same time noticing while we were creating those and coming up with those acoustic versions, it was super fun to notice that these songs we've written in the past 20 odd years, they actually turn out really well and transform into an acoustic song really well. It doesn't take all that much work because melodies and simple structures have always been the core of the thing. And when you have a melodic song that has like singable content and everything, it's fairly easy to transform it in just about any music style. It's easy. Instead of if you have like some quote unquote regular heavy metal song that has a fairly monotonic melody, when you start playing that kind of music in acoustic form, it doesn't necessarily offer you as much to play with as with more versatile melodies.
Yeah. Let's talk about the new album now. Your new single, First in Line, tackles a very important issue of over-abusing technology by today's youth. What made you become aware of that topic?
Well, being a father myself of kids who are using the technology right now, but still sort of clay in a way that we have a chance of changing the way they approach things, and they can actually learn. They are still learning. It's something that I feel I am super concerned about, and I feel that we should like make strict rules on the use of artificial intelligence, for example, how it can be and should be used, and it should be allowed to be used, and that's not something that is to be taken lightly. Kids are using it to cheat on school, basically, writing their essays and whatnot using AI, and that's like awfully wrong, because if we go on that road, we will end up having doctors and surgeons who are performing their things and checking on AI on how to open up a human being. And I do not want to go into brain surgery under a knife of a person who doesn't honestly know what he is doing or she is doing. I feel that if we continue on this road, the children will not learn to use their brain. The really super smart people probably will, because they get a lot of they feel good when they solve things in their own mind and use their brain for things. But there are people who are on the borderline. They have good material and they're ready to go in the world and do great things. But if they are not sort of forced to use their own brain, they will never grow up to be the best versions of themselves, I think. And so that's the main issue I see right now, and we are sort of first in line when it comes to who's going to suffer from the consequences of AI and such things. And it's not like Terminator kind of thing that I'm worried about really at this point, but it's how it is slowly making its way into our everyday life without us noticing, and we are sort of boiling in a water and in a kettle like a frog without actually realizing that we are getting boiled.
I could not agree more. In a way, this could be probably a great topic for a concept album, but it's not this time, right? The album is called Clear Cold Beyond. And what is the meaning of that title?
Well, first of all, there is also a song by the same name on the album, which is it's not necessarily the reason we named the album Clear Cold Beyond, but I was the idea came around when I was watching this must have been a TV series about space exploration, and there was this like early tryouts of reaching the edge of atmosphere, Earth as atmosphere, and there's a jet plane reaching the limit there, and you could see the black sky, black space there, and then like sky underneath basically, and the curvature of the planet and everything, and it was beautiful. And the person talking there was saying that when you see that clear blue beyond, blah 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 something, and it's like wow, that's so intense, the whole thing, and it's wonderful. And clear blue beyond, I realized quickly that, well, I think that's a pregnancy test. So you can't go and use that kind of name on an album. It would get attention that we do not necessarily need. So I changed blue to cold, which in a way, in this context, it communicates the same thing, I think. And it's even more Sonata Arctica like cold. So Clear Cold Beyond was the name, and then I was at the same time working with the song Clear Cold Beyond, which is about a young boy, too young to be drafted in the army. He still lures himself in and goes and fights in the war only to impress a girl he likes very much, and only to destroy pretty much the life of his family and devastating the girl he was in love with. And all things go wrong. So that's the story behind the title, the song, and also, of course, me explaining this thing to our drummer Tommy, who took care of the artwork this time. I didn't have time. I was working on other aspects of the album at the time when the album artwork had to be done and created. So I gave him some ideas and was sort of a consultant in a way. Because of past albums, I've been like on top of the album artwork, and this time was different. And I gave it to Tommy, and he contacted the artist Nico, and he just did whatever Tommy told him to do, and I had some pointers. Like I wanted to have the glow, the reddish sunset color glow in the middle, and also the helmet, which is pointing towards the song and connecting the artwork with the song Clear Cold Beyond, obviously. And you have a feather, which is raven, and then a wolf there, and those normal Sonata Arctica characters, they're wolf and raven, and they need to be on the artwork somehow present. And I think it turned out really well. We have the color scene and like colors that we have on our second album, Silence, the blue and white, and then the reddish colors there. So it's also a way to bind this album into our early work in that way as well.
Another song that you had been promoting lately is a Monster Only You Cannot See. Tell me about that song.
Yeah. Well, when it was a demo, I had it under a moniker of Nightwish something, blah blah blah, because it's kind of Nightwishy kind of moods to it, I think, and and it also helped me to remember what song I am here talking about. So, but anyway, it's a little bit more symphonic. We have an actual choir singing on this track as well as on the many of the others, and it plays quite a big role. Lyrically, it's about friendship. How in a group of friends, there's always normally this one person who is a little bit messed up and does things wrong and always seems to end up in trouble and then can be a little bit of an asshole, but it's our asshole and our friend, and we will take care of that asshole no matter what comes. And also this applies to the family of that asshole. It's our family, so we always stick with your friends and we will always be together. So that's the idea. It's about friendship.
Are there any other tracks you want to highlight?
Well, hold on. My computer just died here. One moment. Well, Dark Empath. That's a song that definitely needs to be highlighted a little bit. It's continuing the famous Sonata Arctica Caleb saga that started already on our second album, Silence, with the song "The End of This Chapter," and then continued on Recognize with God damn it. Now I'm losing the names of the songs already here.
Always.
Yeah. Well, anyway, there have been many songs in that Don't Say a Word was the song. Oof, getting tired apparently here. Anyway, Don't Say a Word was the second song on the thing, and it already created this kind of continuum and a little bit of buzz within fans, and so I realized that this is something that I would actually enjoy doing more. It allows me to play around with my vocals, first of all, this kind of approach, artistic and like a theatrical thing. And also as a songwriter, it's a lot of fun to create this different kind of mood. And there have been like, I think 8 or something like that songs in the saga so far. It's not a chronological story, but it continues and adds things. Each song will bring something new to the soup, and fans enjoy that, and I enjoy it. And there's even fan fiction that's been written around the story, and it's fantastic. So I enjoy always going back there, and Dark Empath is one of that it's continuing the saga. And I think maybe one of the people I was having an interview with said that it would make a great concept album or something like that, and why not? It would actually. I figured that when we hit 10 songs in that saga, we might actually release like a concept album, re-recorded and add a few more songs on it, and then make it a sort of a theatrical play kind of thing. That would be something exciting and new to do.
That actually would make sense. One of the songs I found surprising, it's a cover, which you're using as a bonus, is Toy Soldiers by Martika, which was
Yeah.
Looks like you had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I've been toying around with the idea of doing that. My first idea was to have it on some kind of solo side project one day, but I made a demo, and it sounded like something that we could use with Sonata Arctica as well, which also somehow highlights and underlines the fact that we are going back on our roots, that we always used to have these little bit weird and different kind of cover songs that we recorded, like Wind Beneath My Wings by Bette Midler and such. So it's our way of also in that way going back in time. And one other thing that we haven't had in a while is like a ending funny bit, something a blooper reel kind of thing after the clear called Beyond song, and there's a tiny break, and then there's this everything's splendor kind of thing, which is actual takes, like 2 different takes that I've just compiled together, things that went awfully wrong. But it's fun, and it's also something we did in the past. So yeah,
it's good to have a sense of humor.
Yeah,
At a European tour with Stradivarius, how did things go?
it was fantastic. It was so great success, much more so than we anticipated. Any of us actually, we didn't even dream of having sold out shows, let alone like more than 3,000 people in Milano, Italy. So it was nuts. And had the tour been longer, I think we would have had more sold out shows. It was great success, and everything went well, apart from Timo of Stradivarius, the singer, being sick, and they had to cancel 2 of the shows. But fortunately, we were able to still wave the flag and go on with the tour, and we didn't have to cancel any of the shows per se as a whole. So it was fantastic, and especially for me and Tommy, and probably Timo and Jens, because we were on the same tour back in 2000, our first really, really long tour that we ever had, and with Rhapsody included on that set, and we had a lot of people in the audience who had been there already back in year 2000, and now they were watching this sort of the same show, but with their own children, which is amazing. It's absolutely fantastic and heartwarming to have such a thing happen.
Is there a chance you can bring that bill to United States for a tour?
I hope. We actually talked about it, but let's see how it plays. Coming to North America currently for a European band size of ours, it's financially slightly challenging for various reasons. Fuel price going sky high and everything, and the prices of the bus and everything, it's way more expensive than it used to be, which is unfortunate. So if we can trust that enough people come and see the shows and we sell enough tickets, then we wouldn't go home with such a huge minus, which would help a lot. But it would be fantastic, and we actually talked about it.
And speaking of United States, what kind of a status are you enjoying here?
Well, we are fairly small. We have, like, in some shows we have 100, 200 people seeing the show, and then at best maybe 1,500 somewhere. And well, those are usually actually in French Canada because they have the benefit of having the French media and everything on their side, so they have been able to read and have the same buzz as French fans had back in the day already in 2000. So they've had much more things about Sonata Arctica available for them. So yeah, but still it's not necessarily where it should be. And the United States and North America scene is something that you should be touring there almost constantly. It's a huge market, big, so many places, and the country is huge. So it would require huge financial commitments from the band, and as our lives otherwise are here on the other side of the puddle, it's a little bit demanding, and we are not young anymore, and everybody has families and such. So it's young man's game in that sense, unless you actually live on that side.
You are correct. Regardless, I would love to see you guys in Chicago on stage. Finally, what would you say is the driving force for Sonata Arctica throughout all of these years?
Love for music and brotherhood within the band. It's something that, we are in this together. This is our livelihood. We make our living doing this, and we all have families, and of course, when you get a little bit older and have other financial obligations besides your own butt and getting eats and drinks and paying the rent, you have family, so it becomes even more like prominent and important for you. So we are taking care of each other in that sense. We are trying to stay healthy and be able to do this until we are fit to retire, which is probably never, but still as a thought. And I would probably be writing songs and singing in some local band, regardless of this being my profession or not, even if it was a hobby, which it was before. We were fortunate enough to have make this a career out of this and got a recording contract. And I feel blessed that I've been able to do this for a living. Besides anything, I haven't done anything else but Sonata Arctica since I was 24 years old. So and now I'm almost 49. So it's been a long time in this business, and I feel super fortunate and happy. It's a dream come true. Of course, I wouldn't mind to be a millionaire by now, but it is what it is, and I'm just happy to be doing something that I really love.
Yeah. No, that truly is a blessing. Thank you so much for speaking with me, and good luck with the new record.
Thank you, Mark. It was a pleasure. Thanks very much.